Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the Cutlass Board Games channel. I'm joined with John again. And we've had a very successful PlayCon.
We have.
We were recording this Sunday night after PlayCon. We're both exhausted. You've got to get a train back to Melbourne first thing tomorrow morning. So we won't drag this on too much, but we wanted to come in and talk about what PlayCon has been like. Some things that are improved from last year, some things that we like about the convention. Because last year, afterwards, I did kind of a big, decon kind of thing where we can talked about what the experience was like and how stressful sometimes conventions can be, or if you're a person that's never done something like the Designer Alley before, what kind of things, maybe you can expect, or some tips to kind of help you be doing in the future. So do you want to give us the kind of, quick summary, maybe not a minute by minute, but general vibe of what we were doing?
Well, the really good thing about it in general, like last year, there was still the designer mingle. There was still the designer alley tables with the yellow tablecloth made it really easy to see. And PlayCon was just as fun as last year. It had activities galore. In fact, more activities this year. And it still had the really, really fun bingo card of different things you could do. And it's good that they keep all of the announcements for rewards and stuff at the very end, till the very end.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and short. So it doesn't completely interrupt your gaming. And they were good about changeover times. There was a half an hour bracket between one person and the next person, and so there was a good chance that they had left and there wasn't any they could do feedback relatively quickly. And there were still big names there, like Matthew Dunstan, Martin Wallace, Phil Walker Harding, Tool, they're all there. Keith, of course. The most important man. And
we also had a lot of media names.
Yeah.
Shut Up and Sit Down, Think Thema, Meeple University. Big fans of Meeple University. So it really does, and it's like we had the ability to talk to these people that were interacting with designers and projects and stuff like that. So it really did feel like we got to, even if you didn't get to talk to any of these people, you still got to see what some of the community exists like. I got to spend a lot of time with Emily from Shut Up and Sit Down, and just playing games. She just likes to float around and play some stuff and hang out, and we played a bunch of the Designer Alley together, mostly just because she was floating around and it was really easy to get bumps on seats, get people playing games.
That's the other really amazing thing about Designer Alley.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay. Downside of PlayCon, you pay for your ticket as a designer. Yes, you're showcasing your game to the public, and you're an attraction for the people there. So you have to pay for a ticket. It's a bit different than other places, but the way that PlayCon makes it up for you is there's someone going around who knows a little bit about your game and is recommending people to go play it. And those bingo cards make it really, really easy.
Yeah.
People want to come to fill out the bingo cards. They can score the cool game prize at the end, or an entry into it.
Yeah.
And then there's someone helping them find you and your game, and they actually end up going to your game because they're a little bit interested in it, which is really nice. And I think on my 2 times, so each designer has 2 slots, and both of my slots I had maybe 5 minutes maximum between my games, which is pretty crazy. At PAX, I don't get that.
Yours is a 2-player, plays for an hour, and we get, what is it, a 4-hour slot?
Yeah.
I honestly just didn't even look at the time. I was just told when it was over. Mine is a bit different. Mine, I kind of wrote it down as 10 minutes because gameplay is really fast. But sometimes people play multiple rounds and stuff like that. But the teach is 1 minute, and playing the game is maybe maximum 15-20. If it's a bunch of people that are really struggling or really wanting to have a more complex challenge. And so because I was churning people really quickly, there was times when I had no one there. But I'm also not feeling the pressure of I'm trying to sell a thing. I didn't feel like I needed to be seeing customers, not designers. So when friends wanted to hang out and be like, oh, I want to see what your new game is. I'm like, hell yeah, look, come, I'll show you the thing. But I can understand someone like George, for example, who was showing Uncultured Swine, has the Kickstarter coming up in November. And so he's got to be not only do I need to seat, it's 4 minimum, 6 minimum or something. We played with 6. So not only do I need to seat that many people, even it's -1 if you're playing as well, right? and it runs for this long, but also I'm trying to convert to Kickstarter and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so I can understand if you are under a lot of pressure to turn over that entry fee. It can be a little bit stressful, but I still promise it's way better than collab. I'll stand on business with that one. It's way better than collab, mostly because the people that come and look at your thing are already much more in the wheelhouse of interested in what's going on, right? They're there to play games. They're interested in what's up and coming. They have no frame of reference, and are incentivized to come and play a thing. None of this architecture exists in PAX. Conquest gave people prizes for playing 3 different Designer Alley games. It's like really good for getting people to come and have a look at stuff. And I think 80% of the people that played my game were looking for the sticker afterwards.
Just to let you know, Conquest is the name of the bingo card that they give out. Not to be confused with the Melbourne-based role-playing convention. Conquest is the name of the quest that you go on at the con in PlayCon.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And it did a lot to help people to come play the games. The other thing that was different about the Designer Alley, which I think is important, they listened to our feedback from last year.
Yes.
Last year you had concrete blocks where everyone in your bracket was in the same bracket, the second one. So they had 3 brackets with 2 slots, and if you were in the same bracket as someone, you could never play their game because you're working. And they changed it. I didn't realize that they had changed it, mostly because I looked at the thing and I go, my game was always the bottom of the list, so I just went, I'm this time. I don't look at the rest of the names. Because I was just going to wander around when I had free time anyway. And I realized, because Rob, who was showing the boxing game, was on the same time as me for the second session, but not the first session. And I was like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I saw you running the thing earlier this session I was not in, but now you're in the same session as me. Like, it's the thing I realized on the Sunday, right? So it did mean that I got a good opportunity to play a lot of Designer Alley games. I think I clocked 5 or 6. There was some that I missed. I wanted to play a Franco's game, Buffoons. I didn't get a chance to. That was on my list, and I'm sorry, Franco, I didn't get a chance to. And I also was like very energy over by the time it came to like 5 p.m. on each day.
Yeah.
We did 13 hours Friday. We did 13 hours Saturday. And it was kind of insane.
Yeah.
Honestly. Saturday I was the most exhausted. Both Friday, Saturday, I like got into bed and fell asleep immediately.
Yeah. That being said, we're exhausted because it was so much fun. Like, we wanted to stay.
Well, we could have left earlier, right?
Yeah, we could have left early, but we chose not to, and that is why this con is so good.
Yeah.
Like, you want to stay for as long as you can, and you leave because you're exhausted and you cannot continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, one of the play to win games this year was a Godzilla game.
Yeah, Godzilla Tokyo Clash.
Super fun.
Yeah. We played that. So both Friday, Saturday, we played like kind of crunchy games at like the 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. mark. Playing Apiary in the middle of the night was definitely a big mistake.
Oh man.
That game was great, but hard.
So good, but yeah. And Tom Allen.
Yeah, he kicked our ass.
He kicked our butt so bad. He got 187 points, which is like, to put this into context, Keith and I got like 70-ish points.
Yeah.
And he lapped us.
Tracker only goes up to 100.
The board, yeah, it only goes up to 100. I was worried he was going to get a score that couldn't even be measured.
He should have left like 30 minutes before endgame scoring and still won.
Oh, crazy. I mean, it is a really fun game.
We enjoyed it a lot.
It takes a while to get through the rules, but I want to have a quick talk about all the cool games we saw.
We played a lot of games.
In the Design Alley.
Yeah, let's wrap games.
So you can go check out all the different sorts of games that are being published. That's cool. But what you can't find anywhere else is the stuff that was in the Design Alley. And some of my highlights from the Design Alley this year were Robert Bella and his boxing game. He has made a 2-player, exceptionally realistic and fun game that feels like boxing. That is just, it's really cool. It goes, if you're interested in like simulation games like Dungeons and Dragons or games that go into detail about a subject, his game, it factors in different kinds of punches. If you go for the head or the body, it includes fatigue. You can get a character up to the ropes. Your character's boxing skill and speed matter. And you have to hit a certain amount in order to cause a knockout. But then there's like staggering, which isn't quite a knockout, which does some cool stuff. And there's different sorts of characters with different sorts of strengths. It goes into so much detail, but the turns are still snappy. It's like play 3 cards, reveal those cards, let's see what happens. And I think it was really, really cool. I also really enjoyed Sarah's game today. Sarah made a game called I Don't Like Onions, which is a trick-taking game where you can change the sort of trump that you get. Like, for example, there's normal rules of trick-taking. Then there's one where the lowest card wins, one where the highest card wins, and one where the trump is 5. And there's always a standard super trump, which is an onion, which is why it's called I Don't Like Onions.
Yeah.
And I loved that mechanic because it meant that no matter what your hand is, like you can't get a bad hand because you can always change what the trump is so it works in your favor, which is great because it also kind of tells the other players what you've got in your hand, which is super cool. So there's like layers to it.
Like an onion.
Yeah. What about you, Keith? What are your 2 highlights?
I didn't get to play either of those. I got to play Tegan's game and what is it? Inordinate Fondness, which is about the taxonomy of the beetle.
How cool a theme! I wanted to play that game.
It's great. I really like the visual identity of it. It's you're placing tiles and like kind of stacking them and overlapping them to make like a catalog of beetles, and then if you stack 2 beetles that are the same one, so which other you get to put a pin in it, which is like how they are displayed in a museum normally, and then how the scoring works. I thought it was really interesting because when you pin a beetle, it has 2 different traits associated with it, and then you move up on a rewards track for that kind of trait, and you're competing with the other players in those specific reward tracks. And I got a late game scoring card at the start of the game that was like, you care about ornamental beetles, and so I picked a lot of ornamental beetles, and like I focused on trying to get that one track in particular to completion. The guys that I played with, Jay and Ryan, used some of so there's extra tiles that like don't score points or anything, but they're like used to prop up extra layers so that you can build out higher, and rather than like having to go wide first. Like if you've played number 9, I think it's called, where you can only overlap existing structure. With this one, it's like, no, I need to go off a little bit, so I'll put a little crutch here and then I'll sit fine. But Jay just built this unfathomable monstrosity of a thing and
like
used
Jay.
all of them and just try and break the game. But it was like really funny. I really enjoyed it. I also got to play. What else did I play in the Design Alley? I got to play a bunch of Ryan Busher's games because he was showing Gondola Gophers, a thing that I didn't play, but I got to play 2 other things that he had.
I wanted you to play Gondola Gophers.
I know.
That game is actually so good.
Yeah.
I played it back in Melbourne because he's actually relatively local to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed at how the game it automatically balances itself because of the gondola system. Like, I don't know, like the cool thing that the whole premise of the game is that the water in the gondola, like the water in the canals of Venice goes up and down with the tides. And so at certain times of the day, it's higher than others, which means if you pack your gondola too high, your stuff falls off.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's like you sort of push your luck trying to get a certain level of goods into your gondola, and then hope that the water doesn't change too much to lose it. And so there's and the other cool thing about it is it includes set collecting, which means you can collect different sorts of goods in a set is worth more. So you want to stack your gondola with the right sets of goods without losing too many. Really, really clever game.
Yeah, I didn't get to play it. But I did play One Trick Pony, which was a trick-taking game where you want to have one trick one. But
one trick, as in you win with one trick?
No. So whenever you win a trick, you keep the pony.
Right. Okay.
And then if you win multiple tricks with the same suit, they're eliminated. So you're trying to keep one pony in your stable at the end of it, which was kind of cool. I also played 6 months on a leaky boat, 6 months on a leaky boat. It's trying to be like a it has like a betrayer mechanic to it where there can be a built-in betrayer from the start, which is an octopus that works on the boat, or you can sabotage the boat and like swim away right before the end of the journey, and then like based on whether people swim away or it actually sinks or not, like how much coins that you've kind of stolen, interacted with, or whatever. And working on the boat is like you're trying to keep pass or fail cards away from them. It felt really adjacent to things like a lot of the vote pass kind of games, like Avalon kind of core. It was really interesting because there's so many different areas and how many things you interact with if you bump up against somebody else. So you're trying to use your space really effectively, and you're always trying to predict the outcome of whether or not the ship is going to float or sink. And like you can kind of get like a small grasp of what's happening. But I think all the players clued on that there wasn't a betrayal. So we were all like, yo, that's great. We'll just solve the thing and we'll all win together. But none of us like table talked or politics, a thing that I think the game needs to be like, no, I think John's the betrayer. We should be doing this to stop him from doing stuff. And so I think we didn't access part of the game that existed because we were like focusing on the core mechanic rather than focusing on the social aspect it's supposed to encourage. Still did enjoy it. I also played Uncultured Swine, which was George games. We did play it with 6. I got to play it with David and Samara, and Emily as well. And David and I are besties now, John. So unfortunately, our kind of relationship's over. It's David and I now. And it's like a Codenames type game where you're trying to be on the same wavelength as somebody else.
Well, we're not on the same wavelength anymore.
Not anymore.
You just threw me under the gondola.
David's my new best friend now. And he and I beat everyone else by like 8 points. And we had it because you wager how much in sync you think you are. And each card will have like several different options and you kind of rank them. And then you wager specific answers that you think the other person is going to answer the same as you. So in the first category and the last category is the most obvious because it's like how red is a watermelon or whatever. And for the first answer, you're like, it's very red or some shit. It's a horrible fucking example. But like something that is really obvious answer for first and then a really obvious answer for last is easier to bet on. But then like the stuff in the middle, like one of the example questions was like hardest instrument to learn. And it goes piano, guitar, violin, drums, and recorder. And I go, okay, piano is the easiest to learn. No, piano is the first one you learn because it teaches you music theory, which you need for all the other instruments. So piano is not the easiest to learn. And drums is really hard to learn. I've tried to learn drums. It's really hard. So maybe guitar. No, wait, recorder is an option. Recorder, they teach 8-year-olds to learn how to play, right?
Really easy.
And so I'm like, okay, so maybe it's recorder, and then like drums is for, and like violin is last and stuff like that. And it's like I'm really confident about the recorder, and then like maybe guitar is second, and then I'm really confident about drums being really hard, but I'm really confident that violin is harder than the drums and stuff like that. And then like I wager based on how confident I am about these things. And it gives your teammate an ability to kind of read how confident you are about it, and then like also wager and kind of match your vibe. And then if you're all right, you get points. But if any of them are wrong, you lose all the points that you would score that round.
Right.
So I think it's really elegant with how it works, and it has kind of a cool stop and come up for air system. Where the way the turns go is you have your we're guessing things, we're holding hands like kind of phase, and then you stop. Everyone gets ordered based on how quickly they were to complete the first phase, and then you're lining up in a buffet to get basically ingredients to purchase upgrades and like end game scoring points and stuff like that, and then you go back into the main bit. So it's kind of like intense, time, stressful team bonding activity, and then stop and come up for air and think about upgrades and things that'll make the next round easier, and then like kind of repeat. And there's lots of different categories of types of question and stuff like that. And it was really good. Like the art on it's like really clean. It really does look like it's ready to go to Kickstarter and stuff like that. So I think that is one that I'm gonna watch. I was like really excited about it after playing it. Like I was kind of sold on it. And George wasn't even like doing the hard sell or anything. He was just like, here's how to play, and then he just played with us. And then afterwards he's like, oh, by the way, it's on BGG if you want to have a look. And I'm like, fine, that's the thing I do. and like I don't know, it just kind of announces itself, as it were.
Yeah, I actually have a picture which I'll send you of George teaching the game, and you can see how happy the people are playing it, which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
I want to quickly jump into another thing that PlayCon did differently this year by listening to our feedback. So last year they didn't allow like game designers to put their games on any of the free play tables. They were like, no, that can be for if you want to show your game design stuff, you can put that on the designer alley stuff. Once the designer alley ends, that's your area. You can go do what you want. But we gave feedback that that's not always a good decision, because we often need to pitch to publishers, or there might be another good reason for us to try and pull out a game and show it, especially if people who were came to the designer alley were interested in it but didn't get the opportunity to play it.
Well, there's also just lots of designers hanging around. We're not all scheduled on at the same time. And there was like a ton of times where designers are hanging out and it's like, oh, I want to play your new thing. What have you been working on? Right? Is that me showcasing to you? Is that me pitching to a customer with a prototype?
Exactly.
Is that just us playing a game as homies? Like, it's really hard to gauge the intent behind the problem. The new issue that people complained a lot about, and like Tom Allen was the big champion of complaining about this time, was that they didn't have looking for player signs.
Yeah.
So that if you were a designer that had a project and you weren't in the alley, or your time in the alley was up, or it was after 6 p.m., you could only use after game as a way to signal to players to play your thing.
Or you have to find people come to this area, I'm going to find a table.
You in particular, yeah.
Yeah.
Which some people had some success with. Ryan Cross was there. He had his own sign and was like coming in and getting people in playing testing the thing that he was working on. But the staff came around and they were like, look, we don't want it to feel like you've taken this table, which is supposed to be a free play area, and you're selling out of it. And like you have, staff set up to kind of, engage with customers in that way. It's like, look, that's fine. Even though he's just play testing, but again, it's like, not like a slippery slope problem, but it's like hard to communicate to the customer what the expectation is if it's clearly not part of the designer alley. So I understand the team's response to it, but like also as a designer, it's just like I didn't get into the designer alley. Maybe the designer alley should be bigger, or my goal here is to be doing only playtesting, right? So maybe there should be like a dev pit area as well as the designer alley, where the dev pit is more like a fucking free-for-all. You can just throw whatever you want there, or you can just hang out because all the celebrities are there, or some shit like a green room or something, right?
Hanging there, right, Keith? That's why people should come to the dev pit.
I don't know. I spent most of my time just following Jay and Ryan around and whatever they were doing.
Yeah. I followed Keith around for a bit.
Yeah. I'm hard to lose in a crowd.
It's true. Anyway, we have some really good news that PlayCon announced at the end, or that the organisers announced at the end. They are PlayCon this year sold out just like it did last year.
Pretty
they had over 100 tickets on the wait list, which means there was a huge demand for it, because they run a really good con.
They do run a good con.
So good. And there were other things I could talk about other even cooler things that we saw, but they're moving to the International Convention Centre next year. Which means in Sydney, which means that there's going to be a lot more tickets, and hopefully for us that means more opportunities in the designer alley. Because the designer alley was mainly limited by the number of tables that we had, but with more people coming, maybe we can have more games in, which means that there might be more opportunity for our great design community to showcase games. Yeah.
I don't hate the idea of having a formal and informal space for designers, where Designer Alley has signs made for you, the thing that they do, because it has your pitch, has your play, all that kind of stuff. It helps you find what table you're supposed to be at, which is great. I love that kind of stuff. And then has volunteers helping get bums in seats and helping run all that kind of stuff. Has the stickers, has the conquest. That's fine. That's done really well. I don't want that to change. Getting bigger, also great. But also having an unofficial area, because if you have all the free play stuff, in which it is 99% free play, and the designer alley is not at the end anywhere, it's kind of off the middle, right? If you have a spot up the end and be like, look, this is the place for designers to, interact with each other, go crazy, run prototypes, show publishers stuff. This is your space, and customers know that is what that area is supposed to be for. then maybe the miscommunication problem isn't there. Maybe the people seeing the looking for playtesters sign isn't so crazy. Maybe solves a problem, because I think there should be a place for that. Like, there needs to be a place to show Kimbrey back a game.
Yes.
Whether or not it specifically has only that purpose or not, it needs to exist as a space. And look, he was playing games non-stop the whole time.
Yeah.
He had plenty of stuff to look at. He had plenty of stuff to show.
Thank you, Keith. Keith was he just totally went to Kim and was like, "Hey Kim, how you doing?" He had made like 2 minutes of small talk.
Okay, now hang on. The
by
2
the
minutes of
way-
small talk is very important, because I played 12 Rivers, which is one of Kim's latest achievements.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Immediately afterwards, I go and talk to Kim. I go, "We're gonna fight. I'm very mad at you. 12 Rivers is fantastic. I'm gonna rip this game off. I'm making a clone. You're not allowed to be mad at me. Also, I want you to play it sometime." And he's like, "Sounds great. I'm looking forward to that." I'm like, "Fuck you for being so cool about this." Also, the other thing I'm really mad about is that Jonathan has been sitting on a game for 8 years that I also think is very good and that you should play it. And he's like, "Okay, sounds great. Also, when can I do this?"
Yeah.
And then, we booked a time with it, and I did see you guys go off and play that. And I talked to him about the playtest, like, independently as well afterwards. And he gave me some cool feedback as well. So I think there is, and like, look, we recorded for the channel, so you can kind of see it for yourself. But I think there is some space for like really easy improvements for the game, fix the mathematical balance, and I think it is going to be a banger. So,
thank you.
Greatest cheerleader of the year award.
Thank you, Keith. This is something that I really appreciate about Keith. Look, I know this is on his channel, and you probably know how awesome he is. But I'm just going to throw some praise his way. Keith is really good at connecting people. When it comes to game designers, he will network people across the industry and make sure that they meet each other and that they do cool things together, and he'll advocate for his homies.
There's some, here's my 2 tips to being like me when it comes to working in the industry. I am everyone's greatest cheerleader. I know a few people out there that I am definitely way greater cheerleaders for. I've been a day 0 Jason Tam fan.
Yeah.
Before he thought he could make games, I've been saying he should be making games, and now look at him go. He's been killing it nonstop.
Absolute hustler.
I've been a day 1 Jonathan stan. Unfortunately, he showed me a game that's been sitting on a shelf for 7 years, and I've been telling him everything else is garbage.
Has it really been 7 years? Anyway,
it's been a long time. Yeah. We have aged. But also, like, I'm trying to be everyone's greatest cheerleader because I know what the talent is and I know how hard it is to break through. I also make a big effort to try and remember a lot of people's names. I also try and make a big effort to make sure everyone is included. Like, if you see people that people are going and doing a thing, being like, "Hey, are we bringing this person? Is this person coming too? Hey, do you want to come and do this thing? Hey, what is going on?" Right? And I'm not always in charge of being able to do that in a situation, because sometimes I'm just following someone else. I don't know what's going on. But a lot of the time when I'm like, "Hey, are we doing dinner tonight?" Like, we went to Dougie's for dinner tonight, and I brought like 12 people.
Yeah.
So I was like, "You're coming with us? You're doing dinner? You coming? Yeah, let's go. This is the place." But I'm also like, "Let's fucking leave right now," instead of standing around talking the whole time.
I think that's the other thing that's really good about cons, and PlayCon is really good for this. Designers and get together, and we get to like actually hang out as people and do lunches and dinners,
and the mingle and stuff like that.
And I mean, like, when you catch up with another designer, you feel good about like learning about their story, their history, how they got into game design, what they're working on, and then when you actually get to like test their game, there's a bit more like, "Oh, wow, now I understand a lot more about you," and you feel like you become friends, which is great.
Yeah. Well, for example, on Friday or Saturday, I think it was when you had time in the alley. I went and did lunch with Ryan, Jay, Michael, who we played Godzilla with, Tom, who we did not play Godzilla with, who we played Apiary with, and Tegan and myself. So the 6 of us at this sushi restaurant.
What a power team.
We're waiting for the food to come out, and Jay and Ryan are like, "Hey, try this latest fucking prototype that we've got." Each player gets 16 dice, and there's like a big stack of cards that run on the whole big square table that we've got. And so our food is like taking up this tiny square of the space, and everything else is giant board game that we're all playing. And I'm like, damn, this is actually kind of a sick moment. That they can be like, "Here's an activity that we're doing," and every single person is like, "Sounds great." Right? And like, it's really hard. Like, even now, even over the weekend, people are like, "Hey, do you want to play this game?" My brain's like, "Fuck no, I do not want to do an activity." Right? Like, it's really hard to get past that threshold. and like seeing a box size, like people are like, do you want to come and play Uncautious One? I was standing around doing nothing. Emily comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to come and play this game? And she points at Uncautious One, and I see the box from across the hall. I'm like, no, I don't want to play a big game. And I'm like, yeah, no, it sounds great. And so, I overcome my fear of not wanting to do a thing. I'm not fucking doing, like, it's not interrupting something I'm doing, right? I'll come play the game. I play the game, and the game is great. I have nothing but great things to say about it, right? And so some of it is me overcoming my anxieties in, like, wanting to say no and do the safe option and try and do stuff, and trusting other people and trusting people's opinions, and do my best to, like, elevate my opinion of them, and, like, vouch for other people and stuff like that as well. Like, a lot of the new people, we had a lot of new people this year. Like Jen,
yes,
who had High Seas. We had a chance to do dinner with Jen on the Friday.
Yeah.
And like, she's very new, and it was cool to be able to be like, hey, look, these are the people that we know. We introduced her to Cheryl, and like Franco as well, who we went out to dinner with. And it's like, these are cool people that are new to us, but that doesn't stop them from meeting the other people that are not new to us, and us being like, this person's cool because of this reason, or we can bring them along. And you can tell by watching the video that I've remembered every single person's name that we've talked about so far.
And Jen made a banger of a game.
Jen made a good game. I didn't play it at the Designer Alley because I had played it at Tabletop Tuesday before, but it is very fun. It's like the same kind of lightning in a bottle that Hot Streak has, where everyone goes insane for Hot Streak, but it's that same kind of betting and gambling on a thing moving and happening that's really chaotic and out of control. And I think, with time and working on it and stuff like that, whether how serious she is about it or not, because she seemed like she's just having fun doing it, which is fine, by the way, that it could be a very cool game. Yeah,
absolutely. Another person who I thought did a really, really good job. First game designed. Okay. Keith's made a pretty cool game. But
at least one. Half of one.
You've seen him talk about the jar, Game in a Jar, so you already know about his story. Dan Harris, Protocol 7.
I didn't get to play that.
Solo game. It was hacker versus computer, and it turns what Netrunner feels like as a 2-player game into a really good solo game. And I don't even like solo games, but I liked that game. And it was tense all the way up to the end. And I was this close to winning. I lost. But it was just, so good. The way in which you gain actions and energy was good. The way that you can change the board state so that you improve yourself over time was good. The way that you can use your special abilities to get temporary benefits was good. The way that you could manipulate the dice in your favor was good. And then the way in which you go and eventually defeat the computer was great. But the best thing about that game, the absolute best thing, is that it has a deck of cards which will flip something out, and you'll have to deal with it unless it's higher than your level. So there's it's called the protocol level, and you go from 1 to 7, and protocol 7 is when you lose. But if a card will come out, and if it's protocol 1 and you're level 1, it'll do something. But if it's level 2 and you're only level 1, it won't do anything, but you'll level up.
Oh, cool.
So it's to begin with, you'll get a bunch of situations where nothing will happen. But then you'll over time you're going to start the deck is going to start hitting you.
Oh, that's an interesting curve of two things meeting. I'm seeing just now as this is happening.
The deck is going to start hitting you, and by the time you get to Protocol 5, the whole deck is going to hit
everything.
You. And when the deck runs out, that's when you go to Protocol 6, and then the deck will go through again. And if it runs out one more time, you lose.
Right.
So you get this really nice breathing space to begin with, and then it starts hitting you hard. And that was just amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And first game, I'm so mad that he made such a good game, such a good solo game as his first game. Because making solo games is not easy. And it's so easy for you to go, well, this could be a video game. This would be better as a video game. And I mean, I'm not saying that his game wouldn't be better as a video game, but it was quite enjoyable as a solo game, and it didn't feel like it needed to be a video game like a lot of solo games do.
Yeah.
Amazing work, Dan. He went from PlayCon crew to game designer in a single year,
Yeah.
and looking forward to seeing Protocol 7.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of tell from just the last 35 minutes that the most exciting things that we've been talking about is the designer alley and the games we've played. And so there's definitely an inherent value in, even if you are not a designer, to go and play stuff in the designer alley, but a lot of the value that we got, and like me talking about playing 12 Rivers and a lot of the other people and stuff that we've hung out and talked to, has only done things to inspire me to do other stuff and work on games and have ideas and learn about stuff. And we played a lot of stuff that normally I would say no to. Apiary is at like a time count that I would normally just say no to, because it's like I get grumpy after an hour. I get grumpy after an hour before 9 p.m. when we started playing.
I get grumpy if someone laps me in the score.
Yeah. But look, we enjoyed it, and like part of that is like the vibe was good, right? We're playing with homies. The stakes are really low, and designers play games different to like regular people. Like we're not really playing to win. We're playing to understand the game, which is really different. Tom showed that he understands how the points work. We showed that we like bees rolling over. It's all kind of the same thing.
I want to do the dancing.
Yeah, I've also realized that I've developed a specific strategy when I'm running a game, playing a game, and it's like I will encounter the first bit of incentive and then just continually run along that line as much as possible. Using Tegan's game, Inordinate Fondness, as an example, I got my late game scoring card. It's like the first thing you get, and it's supposed to help give you a direction to move in. And it says collect these beetles of this type. I'm like, this is the one thing I care about now. I will do only this one thing. I will continue to do this one thing. Everything I do will be in service of this one thing. And it's like intentionally blind to like making correct choices, or like trying to push your luck, or expand wide, you know, like cover multiple things. Like it's like intentionally specializing on entirely one mechanic. Because what will happen is either the mechanic is good, right? And you can say this thing worked really well. Or the mechanic is bad, and you know very clearly the thing is bad because you've spent the entire game focusing on this one thing. And I think that kind of works, and I did that with Apiary, right? Like I received my starting tile which said making bees is good for you, so all I did was make bees, but making bees stops being good for you, right? So I got to a point where making bees was not helpful anymore, but I still have to make bees. I'm compelled to make bees. And you start to realize then, well, this was not designed to be a thing that runs for the whole game for you. It just gives you that first 30%, that kickoff part, right? And some people that play the game will not be able to distinguish between the kickoff part and like late game scoring, or like transitioning to an engine and stuff like that. And being able to find a way for the game to very clearly communicate to you that that's what's supposed to be happening. Apiary kind of does this when you start to get access to playing your 4B and get the extra powers, and you go, okay, what am I getting from Carve? What am I planting with my seed cards and stuff like that? Like that should be, now that I have access to doing this, what I'm now focusing on next. Can I meet this goal condition? Can I do whatever? No, I will just make bees. But look, that I've learned some things. I really enjoyed the time that we spent playing games with people. I got to spend a lot of time just like with designers hanging out, because we're only in the designer alley for like 8 hours maximum across the 3 days, and just day one we were there for 13 hours, right? So that means that, assuming it was all piled chronologically, that's 5 hours on day one, and then like 26 hours across the rest of the event that was just spent doing other stuff, networking, meeting people, catching up, because for some of us we only get to see each other once a year. Talking about prototypes, playing, seeing what's being showcased with things like LPG and the distributors, and looking at what's in the designer alley, because that's got set hours and things rotate and
actually
busy.
Another thing I really like about PlayCon is it shows off a lot of Australian published games. Because a lot of the board game companies and distributors that end up bringing in games are actually games made by Aussie designers. And a really good example,
we got to play Carl's game.
We got to play Carl Lang's Octocube.
I can't believe I forgot to mention Carl's game.
Which is so cool, because it's like a cube that has a magnet-y thing in it, and it rolls on top of another piece, and it picks it up. And so it's like an octopus collecting all this stuff around it.
It's incredibly toyetic. It's very fun to handle. I won by a lot. It was not close. This was a game that I walked into with no strategy. Well, that's a lie. You see what the different objects you can collect is, and your strategy is to try and collect sets of them. My strategy was just I want to only pick up my dice when it has 6 things on it, and I want to have no move where I'm not collecting a thing. That's all I did, and I just picked up the most shit, and therefore I won. Which I think is fine. It's not really a strategy, it's just an absence of loss.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, the strategy. But it was great fun, and like because we're in a 4-player game, there was some kind of traffic jam problems, and so some of the other players got stuck, and I'm like, I'm collecting my fridge magnets, I'm getting my points and stuff, but I like it a lot. It's like got a really nice tactile sensation to it. It does have like that toy feeling watching it roll around and being able to see what other people are doing. So I think it's a banger. I think that's one I have to buy as well.
Yeah,
my collection demands it.
It's super unique too.
You can see a little bit of the collection on the camera, but mostly Moonshell is the thing that you can see. But this whole shelf here and some of the stuff on the shelf below it is entirely Australian designed and published games.
Well, there's like one or two.
With the exception of PTC Hayward. That's my other other triumph story. Where I got to meet PTC Hayward for the first time. I've actually been a big fan for a really long time because we're kind of rolling through the same kind of career notes. And I got to make fun of him to his face, which he was very appreciative about. And I wanted to get some of my games signed, but I didn't have them with me because I thought he was going to be their birthdays. He was only there one day. It was not a big deal. The main thing was that I wanted to meet him and say hi. And I think you're cool, and I like a bunch of your games.
He is
which I did, and it was very cool. And he's the world's most obvious man.
Because he's always
got
blue.
He's got a blue beard, blue hair, and he was wearing a bright suit as well. But he's also just like, you're talking to him, and he's just incredibly bright. And he's really excited to see you. He had fucking no idea who I was. We've talked a whole bunch of times online, and like talking about things that we're working on, all this kind of stuff. And he's like, hey, yeah, this is great. How's it going? I'm like, really excited to be here. I'm also trying to do another thing that you're interrupting, but I'm really happy to be here talking to you right now. And it was really cool. Like, he had a lot of time for me, and I appreciated that. And it was cool. I got to meet one of my idols. It's not a thing I get to do every day. And look, I'm seeing a lot of other people that people are like, wow, this guy's really cool. And look, I love Phil Walker Harding like the next person, but I just feel no celebrity factor from them at all. They're just other cool people that work in the space to me.
Yeah.
So it was weird to have this, cool with the thing a person I actually have not interacted with, and I do think is very cool. Which I appreciated.
That is something that is pretty amazing about PlayCon. At least this year, it's been small enough that you can rub shoulders with
all of them.
Like the best.
Me, I'm there. I'm dicking around. I'm really easy to find. Also, I'm always just kind of standing out there staring into space. No. So
I was going to say you can. What I wanted to say was that you can rub shoulders with some of the best Australian game design talent that there is out there, or maybe not the best should be the right word. The most successful.
Again, I'm there. I'm standing around.
Yeah. Okay, Keith is there. Go for Keith. But I think we should probably wrap up.
We should wrap.
It was once again amazing con. Favorite con of the year. It's probably going to be favorite con. I mean,
it's not close too.
Yeah, it's a really really good time. And the improvements that they made for us were really good. This year they did have other stuff for like just the general public. They had a miniature painting. They had a role-playing game area. They had like convention Catan, which was like this giant Catan board that you could play.
Oh, harmonies as well. They had big harmonies.
Big harmonies, yeah.
The board game, not the choir.
They had vendors that were selling unique games I hadn't seen anywhere else. Some of which looked really cool.
I had a vendor selling my games there.
Amazing.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me very often.
Yeah, except at PAX at Quest Supply.
That's different. I'm there working with them.
His games because he makes good games.
That's right.
And yeah, it was just, the vibe was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vibes immaculate.
Though, one thing I am looking forward to is not having to hand my identification over because it's held in a really
the RSL.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you have to walk by some pokies to get into the like convention area, and it says alcohol, which is great. But
there was a lot of guys that were like, "Yeah, I really would like to just have a beer and play a game." Yeah, I appreciate that vibe as well, and we kind of did that. You and Tom were enjoying a Heineken over apiary, which also probably didn't help our scoring problem.
It kept me awake.
It did. And like dealing with fatigue is definitely part of it because it's such long hours, and you kind of committed to as much of the thing as you can. Because we were there to kick out like all 3 nights. But maybe we should wrap. We enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be there next year. I'll apply to be in everything. I want to try and do talks and panels and stuff as well. I think that's a thing that maybe I should have tried to engage this year and didn't. I really only just threw my joke game submission into the ring for the designer alley. Maybe I should be doing other different stuff because I'm also worried that I'm getting to a point where do I need to be in the designer alley? Is there other new people that deserve that space more? Because we're seeing a lot of new people come in. Do I really have a thing that needs because you've been turned into a blank. It's not a game I'm trying to sell. It's not a game I'm trying to pitch. It's just a game that I made because I thought it would be fun and I could show them and people would enjoy playing it. People did enjoy playing it. Was that a worthy use of the space? Could somebody else who is really trying to sell a game or is really trying to because the thing that I say the reason why I did is like profile raising. I'm there. I'm in the designer alley. That's kind of like PlayCon vouching for me, legitimizing me as a designer, and it is then kind of work out as if I am there working for part of it and stuff like that. But like maybe there's other stuff that I should be focusing on. Maybe I should be standing in line signing games. Maybe I should hold a queue and people can come and rub my head or something. And just maybe finding a different way of using my time that's maybe more effective. Maybe I'm just networking. Maybe I'm just hanging out with the homies and playing their games or whatever. Maybe I'm just recording stuff for YouTube. So I'm really excited to see what will happen next year because it'll be much bigger. It'll be much different. Hopefully we'll have a lot of volunteers that will help, make up the gap between 600 and 1,500 or whatever, how many people they're going to get at the ICC, which will be kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Any final notes?
Thank you for all the volunteers that helped out. What you do is amazing. Thank you for sitting down and playing games with people too, especially in the design alley. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all the board game barbecue team for organizing PlayCon. It was really, really exciting. Thank you to Flip 7 for sponsoring the event.
Yeah,
we all got a copy of Flip 7, which is
mine's
really
also on the shelf.
Yeah, it's a really fun and simple your very first blackjack, but without any actual gambling. And it looks like it's got a shiny box. It's really.
They also played like a 16-player game of it or something.
Yeah, it was really
which is kind of cool.
Yeah. But there's lots of exciting stuff to come out, and PlayCon's a great place to see it all before it happens. And yeah, get amongst it next year. You should get your ticket as soon as possible. It will be a really good con.
Yeah. I do think you undersold the thank you to the board game barbecue team.
Yeah, true. True.
They're definitely homies. And it's not just like they're there working and doing a great job to make a great con. A thing that they are doing, but like also, feel like I have great rapport with a lot of the team. They're walking by, they're hanging out and chatting and be like, what's going on.
They're enjoying the con as well as running it.
They're having a good time, which I think like it shows, right? It's not clearly like I'm just here to make $1 million, thank you, sir, and then insert the tip and then I will leave, kind of a thing. Like they're there, they're gonna stop and play a game. There was a lot of yellow shirts in the designer area and stuff like that. So we really do appreciate the work that you do. It is really shown in the convention because it is the best convention if you are a designer in Australia trying to showcase your shit. So it's worth acknowledging why that is the case. And why the team does make such an effort for the designers because they understand that this is a thing that we do that is unique. And I think PAX undervalues, the local talent and stuff that we have. It doesn't showcase it as hard as it could be. And this is a thing that I've been complaining a lot. PAX doesn't feel like it's showcasing anything unique beyond being a retail show, and it could be much more than it is, right? And so I think PlayCon, for a very long time potentially, if the transition from small to large goes really well, will be the best convention that we have in this country.
Yeah. Fully agree.
All right. Well, in that case, so we don't keep rambling forever and John can finally go to bed so that he can get up early tomorrow, we're going to say goodbye. There's lots of buttons for you to click on the screen. You know what they are. Every YouTuber says them. It's always appreciated when you click the buttons.
Is one going to be here? Is one going to be there?
I think there is a subscribe button specifically here, and because I said the magic S word, it lit up and stuff as well. And because you are a cat, focusing on the bright light and laser on the screen. You're going to pour at it and click the button, and then I will get a big number that makes me happy. And then I'll see you next time when I'm talking about some of the other stuff that I've been working on as a result of PlayCon, and some of the cool stuff that I have coming up, which I'm also very excited about. And then we're going to hear from John and some of the cool stuff he's been working on as well. Because we recorded a playtest of the recycling game, which I think is going to go live after this, which you should look at as well. And look, we'll see you in that video.
And between now and then, I'm going to make you dance, and it's going to be part of the game, and it's going to be fun. Yeah.
All right, go away. We're done now.
Bye.